Okay, now we're recording. Good evening, everyone. I'm not going to repeat all that because some of you heard it already, and no use hearing it twice. For those of you who are in the chat, some of you are saying hi. I'm happy to be here Monday the 20th, and we're talking about leadership. So I'm going to get started with my presentation, and some of the things that I already told you or I said to you when I didn't have the recording on, I'm going to repeat now so you're going to be able to hear them all over again. So let me share my screen with you. Terrific. Okay. Those of you who haven't met me before, I'm Elena Jordan. I'm so happy that you're here. And each and every Monday we gather so that we can find out more information about essential oils. We can also talk about what it is that we're dreaming about, hoping about for the future in terms of our doTERRA businesses and also in terms of our lives and our health. And this week, like all the other, I guess we've been at this for 6+ years now, which seems crazy, but that's the way it is. We're sort of taking the pulse, if you will, not only of this group, but of everyone who's going to watch it later on a recording. So if you are representing your team while you're here and you're going to be passing this information on to them later, or you're going to be watching this, perhaps you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook or any of the other places that it's going to be coming out, I want you to take a moment and just think to yourself, how can I pass this information on and how can I be of service to others? Is this information valuable not only for me, but for other people that are in the same situation that I'm in? And so that's my goal, if you will, to support you and your families during this moment in time. Okay, so I always start by thank you to our Presidential Diamond team. We I guess we're almost 20,000 strong now, just a very dynamic, involved, careful, thoughtful group that helps to bring about this presentation every week. And I feed on the energy of the group, but I also try to keep my fingers on the pulse points of what's coming down the pike. And I hear different things all the time, people that are very interested in what's happening and others that would rather not hear a lot. I am going to encourage you maybe not to watch too much news right now, because it can be very distressing, and to begin to formulate your own ideas. This presentation is going to help you, I think, in that direction, to be able to sit down, to center yourself, to maybe meditate or pray and begin to think, where is it that I want to be going? Okay, so this is helping you care for your family and friends. So we have a lot of you here that are not only caring for family members, you may be caring for friends, you may be trying to reach out to others during this time. We're all trying to do our part, I think, to make sure that each and every one of the members of our community, and our communities can be big or small. Our community can be as small as our family, or maybe ourselves and one other loved one. They can be giant size, our town or our city, and they can be as big as our world, but helping you to care for each one of those communities. The ideas expressed in this presentation are primarily from the book, Essential Oils, A Beginner's Guide, Healthcare for Today, made with you in mind. Now that we're going through this coronavirus, we want to make sure that you're getting the products that you need, and if something is temporarily out of stock, that you're easily able to find substitutes, and that you're putting those things in your cart, and you're allowed to really keep going back to that cart and get what it is what you need. Last but not least, I very frequently now using the Essential Life book. I use the app as well. If you are an Android or an Apple user, the app is available for both. There's a small cost to the app. I think it's about $4, but I use the app and the book interchangeably. Very happy with both of them. I'm glad that I made the investment. So if you've been following me on my journey for long enough, you know how much I admire all the books and knowledge that Michael Hyatt and his team put out on a regular basis. So he is, I would say, one of my leadership mentors. I have others, of course, books that I read. Sometimes the mentors actually know me. I think Michael Hyatt probably knows who I am, but others, just people that I'm reading. And I'm trying right now to keep my mind filled with either good literature or good ideas or people that are strong either in their faith or in their field, so that I am filling my mind with things that are positive and constructive and that are going to help me move forward. Most of the content he provides is actually free via his blog, his emails, his podcasts, and a lot more. But I recently ponied up the money to read his newest book, The Vision Driven Leader. So if you're looking for inspiration and you're looking for information, you can find a lot of his information for free. And I think that's part of how I first started following him and using Michael Hyatt as a mentor, because I did feel like a lot of the content that he was producing for free was extremely valuable. And I felt like there was something deeper that I could explore. And buying his books or getting his books from the library or online, because you can get them online. I know we can't go to libraries right now, but if you have a library service or you have Audible or another book delivery service, you can get downloads of his books. So I was amazed actually by how timely the slim volume is for us right now. From the moment I started reading it, it became one of my favorites. My two other favorites, just for the record, are Your Best Year Ever and Living Forward. And all three of the books are available on Amazon, and their links are going to be on today's blog. So if you are not yet a blog reader, I hope you will consider reading the blog. One of the things that we do each and every week is we put out, I don't want to call it a written transcript, but it's a way for us kind of to reflect on what we talked about here on the webinar. So we get on, we talk live, I get a little bit of stream of consciousness going on. I talk to you about what my thoughts are for the week. I try to stay current. And then what I do in the blog is I provide the links and other information. And there's going to be plenty of links actually that I'm going to have for you in the chat later on, because we've got some great events coming up. And over the next few weeks, I'm going to be interviewing some really fun people, and some people are going to be interviewing me. And I want to make sure that if you want that information, if you want to be included, that you have a way to jump on. I know you have extra time, but I know you also are super busy at home with family, with obligations, with other things. So no obligation at all. But if you would like to jump on, I'd love to see you there too. So why do I love this book? I'm always seeking to become a better leader for the team. I feel a big obligation to make sure that not only my behavior, my actions, but my words are all in alignment. And during these changing times, it's important for each of us who are leading, whether it's a team or a family, to step out in leadership and to be able to step under that mantle, if you will, and understand fully what it means for each one of us. So for me, it's very real because it's practical advice that I can use with the team. And you can see I'm using it right now. And also at home with my family, both of which for me are super important. A wise friend recently told me, big, beautiful trees are like families. You have to figure out what you want years in advance and then plant and be patient. So when you think about what's your legacy, I look at this beautiful bower of trees here. I don't know where this is. I imagine it's somewhere in the South. I don't think these are live oaks, but live oaks are something that you would see kind of growing together like this. How do people plan for the future? And so that dream, that vision, the person who planted these original trees, I don't know if they ever could have envisioned what this would have looked like, but you want to think that they were planting for their future generations. And I'm going to offer to you, friends, that what you're building now, you are planting for future generations. Same thing holds true of companies, both big and small. And if you're managing a team, you are a business. So our ability to lead, to keep our eyes fixed on a dream, and to help others to envision it too is truly what sets apart the merely busy from the compelling leaders guiding others to a worthy destiny. So another one of my mentors, Cal Newport. Now, Cal Newport doesn't know that I'm alive. I've actually taken some of his courses, but thousands of people every year take his courses. Kind of an interesting guy. He started writing books actually when he was an undergrad about how to get better grades. My kids have read his books. He's a really interesting sort of a guy. And then he went on to study computer science, first at Princeton and then at MIT. And then he went to Georgetown actually to become a full professor, the youngest full professor ever awarded full professorship in the history of Georgetown. So that's pretty cool. I think he was in his late 20s when he got that, which is unheard of. And he says, what matters is consistently executing the work that actually matters. So that's something to keep in mind as we're doing our work during the day. How does this matter? How is it going to help? Now, mattering can be a whole different concept when we're at home and when we're with our families. It can mean a couple of different things. It can mean helping our family to feel safe, to feel comfortable, to feel loved. It can also mean our family staying healthy. How are we protecting them? How are we protecting our friends? So what's the work that matters? That's number one. And number two can be trying to envision or trying to sit down and think, okay, when this ends, and nobody knows, right? When this ends, where will I be? What will I be doing? And what are my next steps? And this is, you may not be 100% accurate because we don't know how this is all going to roll out, but that idea that we're kind of keeping pace and trying to challenge ourselves to look forward to see what those next things are. Now, some things that you may have had goals for are no longer valid. You might have wanted, I don't know, to take a trip around the world, or to do something, throw a large party. And right now that's probably not going to happen. But smaller things, more intimate goals are absolutely doable. Things like maybe writing a book or reading some amazing literature or taking a course. You absolutely can challenge yourself to do those things right now. Okay. But do we know what matters? And so this goes back to my former point. By taking the time to clarify our vision, we measure each decision against a clear and shining example. Asked to go in a direction that would lead us far from our vision, we can more clearly and thoughtfully say no. So once we have a vision, it becomes very easy for us to actually make decisions. It becomes less of a should I or shouldn't I? And more of, is that part of what my vision is all about? So I'll give you an example. Earlier this year, actually late last year, sorry, because we're only in April, late last year, someone approached me and asked me if I wanted to represent a CBD company. Now, most of you know what doTERRA's stance on CBD is. And I immediately thought, no, that's not a good idea. But I started listening to what they had to say, and they offered to take me out to lunch. And I thought, I want to hear what the other side is really talking about. What are the CBD manufacturers talking about? The gentleman and his colleagues that took me out for lunch were small producers of a CBD product. Seemed like they were really trying to kick the tires, but I realized very quickly was what they wanted was for me to market their product to all of you. And I thought, that doesn't ring true for me. That's really not what I'm all about. And I want to make sure that you never feel like I'm trying to market you something that you either don't want or you're not interested in or isn't in your best interest. And so my answer was very clearly no. Now you could say I probably wasted a lunch sitting there and listening to this, but allow me to kind of get into not only the minds of some of the people that are in the CBD industry, they actually gave me a lot of good information that I was able to take back and kind of take notes on because I didn't know as much about the background of CBD and some of the competitors and what's going on. It's always good to take a look at what your competitors are doing. So that was a clear example for me of how do we say no, when is no appropriate, and also what are the instances where we may feel, I'm not so sure. Do I take it one more step and then say no? Interesting. Okay, so today I've shared the big 3 takeaways for the book that I'm incorporating into my daily life. And I am going to get to oils. I know some of you are probably saying, when is she going to get to the oils? I am going to get to the oils in a minute, but I thought that this was super important and I wanted to review it with you first. So takeaway number 1 is focus on the future built on vision to ensure it is inspiring and practical. So ask yourself the question, am I a leader or a manager? Before I read the book, I really didn't understand the difference. While the path seems a little steeper now, the reward seems sweeter. Do the hard work needed to get there. Really rally your team around your vision. And now I know there's some very strong teams listening to this call. Some of you have given yourself team names, and I love that. I absolutely love that. And maybe you belong to a faith community and you're very strong in your faith community, or maybe you are part of a school or another organization that you're really rallying around a vision. I want you to think to yourself, maybe I'm part of a vision, maybe I'm part of somebody else's vision, but important information for you to know. So are your teams or your colleagues, is your team your colleagues or your family? And really, it can be both. And where are you all going? So what's your vision for your future generations and your legacy? And number 3, eliminate the drift that can come with not writing it all down. Distill it into actionable plans that drive results. I think sometimes when we dream, and I know that a lot of you have done vision boards, which are terrific. I'm going to encourage you to maybe add some dialogue or some words to that vision board, or a piece of paper that you put behind it, or you type up, or you record it so that you can go back to it and refresh your memory. So drifting can be a little bit about not going back to our original vision, and it can also be about not clarifying the vision enough. So I know that you can do this. I have faith for you. And I also feel like this is the time for us to kind of sit down and center ourselves and say, where do we want our world to go? Okay, so super no nonsense, this book. No slogans, no jingles, not the type of thing you're going to be putting on a t-shirt. And I wore my camouflage t-shirt today, so nothing with slogans, so you would know that I really mean business. So I'm sort of here. I know this is crazy. My background right now is grass, so it's like I'm out in the jungle with my camouflage shirt on. It looks a little crazy, but I really feel like this is a must read as we rebuild our future. Okay, so number 1 on the hit parade when we talk about essential oils, especially during this time, is I want to talk about forgive. The reason I want to talk about forgive are for 2 different reasons. Number 1 is forgive ourselves. I am hearing from a lot of people that they're feeling regret, that they're feeling that they're not sure what they should be doing. Forgive is a wonderful blend to either be diffusing into your, putting into your diffuser, water-based diffuser on a regular basis, maybe even daily, or applying, if you have the roll-on, with a little bit of fractionated coconut oil onto the shoulders, over the heart, that feeling of kind of settling yourself down. We're very unsettled right now, folks, and we may not be settled for a while. Give yourself the opportunity to really center yourself at the end of your day. Here's the other thing that I want to mention to you. Forgive oil contains bergamot, juniper, myrrh, arborvitae, nootka, thyme, and citronella that are all excellent for your immune system. They also can provide you with respiratory support. So using Forgive oil right now can help you emotionally, mentally, physically. It's one of those oils that you want to incorporate into your daily routine right now. Now, let's talk a little bit about BOGOs. Now, this is not a pitch for BOGOs, but you all know that BOGOs are starting today in the US, and they're going to be running from today through Friday. They're having 2 different ways that you can engage with BOGOs this week. You can do one of 2 things. You can buy all 5 of these oils on the left, so the rose, the frankincense, serenity, spearmint, and citrus bliss, and receive 7 oils for free, which is kind of interesting. You'll save on the shipping, and you'll get all the BOGOs all in one go. What's interesting is they're not telling you what those 7 are, so you're either a person who says, I'm all in, or you say, no, I'd rather wait and see. But you do know that the 5 on the left are the 5 that doTERRA is going to be saying, okay, buy this. So you're guaranteed those 5 on the left, and the 7 on the right are kind of a question mark. Or you can, and just to let you know that the box, if you buy the 5, it's going to cost you $200. And then you'll get the 7 oils. Everything will come in one fell swoop. I like the idea of getting everything together. I also like the idea that I don't have to jump on every day. And I know that our shipping right now is very taxed. If you are listening from a GAC market, you can purchase these essential oils. If you know someone in the US, if you're not in a GAC market and you'd like to purchase this, get in contact with one of your leaders in the US so they can purchase you one of these. There are limits on how many, so you're not going to be able to get tons and tons of them. The other option is for you to buy them one day at a time. And doTERRA announced last night that Serenity is the oil from today. Serenity right there in the middle, and that the Get One, the free oil, is going to be Balance. So today the oil is Serenity with Balance. Now here's the last thing I want to mention to you, and then I'm going to go on to why we want at least the 5 on the left, because that's what we know about right now. And Balance, of course, but we know why we need Balance. If you decide that you want these 5 or the 12, you must pull the trigger today. After today, you cannot do this. So if you're interested, you have to get on, and it's obviously while supplies last. Interesting concept. I think it should be super popular for people like me who would rather save a lot of time. I'm definitely going to get the 5 plus the 7. Okay, so what you're basically doing is you're grabbing everything in one box. It's only available, as I said, today, Monday the 20th, and you don't need to grab the box if you don't want to. If you want to wait and see what each one is, that's fine too. Okay, so let's talk about a couple of oils in the box and why we need them now. And I think this is super important. So I'm going to be looking up and down a little bit because I have some notes here that I took on each one of these oils. So why do we want frankincense right now? One of the things we want to talk about when we're stuck at home is sadness, and that feeling of, I can't really feel better. I don't feel happier. I'm super nervous. Frankincense is an excellent oil for reflection. Also, if you're setting your vision for yourself, if you're trying to sit down and really figure out what's the vision for me and my family, frankincense is a terrific oil. For those of you who are yoga practitioners, you may want to put this on your forehead. You can put it over your heart. If you are pray in some way, frankincense is an excellent way for you to refocus the mind and begin to clarify what is my thought process. So use your frankincense right now as you're home and you are trying to set your vision. The other one, and we know that frankincense obviously comes if you don't have the roll-on or you don't wind up getting this particular BOGO. Frankincense obviously comes in a 15 milliliter bottle. You can add fractionated coconut oil. I like to use fractionated coconut oil whenever I apply oils to the skin, except perhaps if I'm putting them right over my lungs because I want them to be absorbed quickly over the lungs. I want to keep my lungs clear. We've been having a lot of pollen here, and I have to say pollen and the let's call it the symptoms of pollen or the effects of pollen. That's the word that I want. The effects of pollen can very frequently mimic that sort of inability to breathe, right? And so people are getting super nervous because they have the effects of pollen in springtime, and they're not really sick, but they really are just there's a lot of things floating in the air. So take your frankincense. It's going to help you with any sort of seasonal discomfort, but it's also going to help you to focus your mind, which a lot of people are complaining so hard to focus when I just stay home all the time, right? Okay, rose, right? So we want rose for a couple of things. We know that rose is excellent for any sort of wound, for cuts, any sort of, especially bacterial infections. So if you're at home, you want to make sure that this is part of your kit that you have available for your skin to protect yourself. The other thing that rose is wonderful for is emotional balance, that idea of bringing ourselves back into balance. I was talking to a very good friend of mine who is a psychologist, and she's actually a child psychologist in London, and we are, oh my gosh, friends of 30 plus years. I know her since before I was married. One of the things I love about her, and we're going to be interviewing her here on this webinar, I think, in a couple of weeks. She talked about how it's so important for us when we emerge from this to feel that we're not completely beaten down, that we just are almost have gone into an animal state. We want to maintain our humanity and our sense of joy. I was talking to a gentleman the other day who was saying that his 9-year-old, he has 2 daughters, I think they're 9 and 11, were having difficulty managing all of this, the stress of being at home and not being able to see their friends. I suggested to him, obviously, that he turn off his news stream, especially when his children are around. But the other thing I said was, try to seek moments of joy. And I think rose is one of those essential oils that can really help for us to feel joy. In our house, because I have older kids, we've done everything from cooking to exercising to gardening. You may have noticed, if you follow me on Instagram, that I publish a picture about my victory garden. And during World War I and World War II, hi, my little friend, I don't know who you are drawing there, but thank you. During World War I and World War II, people actually prepared gardens. It was considered a way for them to help themselves, their family, and their economy and their world. So if you haven't seen that, check it out. And I'll be talking about more about victory gardens. Maybe we'll talk about that next week, because I think we're going to be talking about Earth Day next week, right? And Earth Day is actually coming up in the next few days, but I'm going to be talking about it on Monday. And so when we talk about Earth Day, I'll have some pictures of my victory garden. Don't expect very much yet, because it's super cold here and I don't have a lot of plants in it. The one thing that's growing really well is my lettuce. Okay, so let's now move on. Let's talk about these three. So number one, serenity. If you're outside of the US, lavender peace. Serenity during this time, absolutely recenter your mind, bring yourself back into focus, help yourself to sleep well. If you're not sleeping well at night, I'm hearing about people staying up till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. My kids have been up, and I call them my kids, but they're really young adults, 18 and 20 at this point. They were up the other night trying to make mini homemade pizzas and clunking around in the kitchen. I feel like it's good for them to be bonding, and it's great for them to be together, and that this is a time that they're never going to forget. I imagine when they're old and gray, they'll be reminiscing at the time they were at home. I feel like my job as a mom is to create a place where they can feel safe and sound, but also allow them, when they're ready, to go out and go on to their next thing. My daughter has an internship for the summer in Austin, Texas, and she just got word from her company that they are going to go ahead with the internship. It is going to be remote, but they offered corporate housing, and we're going to let her go. And I think that's super important, that she be able to blossom and stretch her wings. She's been with me already. We just finished our 5th week of shelter in place, and the internship won't start for another month. But it's important for young adults and for people to begin to launch themselves and not feel like they have to be tied, especially my kids. My daughter especially doesn't need to be tied to my apron strings. My son will be a college student in the fall for the first time, going to university. So Uni 1 in the fall, it's so crazy, but again, needs to step out. People have said, no, I'm going to keep my kid home, or I'm going to have him do a gap year. I don't know what they would be doing in a gap year, because they won't be traveling and they won't be doing much community service. And my thought process, at least what's appropriate for me and for my family, is for my son to go back and to continue his studies and to finish. So that's where serenity kind of comes into play. You want you to be able to sleep every night and to be able to get the rest that you need, so you're not so worried and you are able to continue as a leader. So citrus bloom, I'm going to talk about, actually, let me talk about spearmint real fast. I actually love spearmint. It's one of those oils that I don't use enough. It is a terrific substitute for peppermint if you don't happen to have peppermint on hand. It's also a little bit milder. One of the things that I find is if I diffuse a lot of peppermint, it becomes overwhelming, but I never feel that way with spearmint. I love the way spearmint is terrific on children. It's a little bit more mild on the skin. You never feel any heat or excessive cooling. Usually it's cooling with mint. Spearmint just kind of sets the right tone. A couple of other things you want to think about for spearmint is for fever. Fever can be problematic, especially with some of these illnesses that we're dealing with right now. You can apply your spearmint to the soles of your feet. You can apply it either straight, because it is not, you won't have skin sensitivity, or you can apply it with fractionated coconut oil right onto the soles of your feet, put a pair of socks on, and get yourself or your friend or your family member right into bed. It's also good for stress and nervous issues. So if you're feeling just I can't bear up. I have to say, 2 or 3 nights ago, we had a very emotional night here at home. We had heard some bad news about a friend from church, and it was just extremely emotional. And I just broke down when I heard the news. Even 2 days later, I had that sinking feeling in my chest. We've all had, or we've all heard of someone who has died or has suffered as a result of this illness. And that collective heaviness that we're feeling is weighing on our hearts. Use your essential oils to really lift your heart if you can, because you have to keep standing in good stead with the people that are around you. And I want to believe that each and every one of you that's on this call is standing in solidarity and in strength for someone maybe who can't right now and is feeling really weak. The last one I want to talk to you about is citrus bloom. I didn't know a lot about citrus bloom, so I actually created a slide for it for you. And here's a little bit of what it's all about. It has wild orange, grapefruit, lavender, Roman chamomile, and magnolia. Uses and benefits, you can of course wear it as perfume. I don't know who's wearing perfume now because we're not going out, but if you want to smell good in your house, if you're taking a shower and you want to smell great, put on some citrus bloom. It is also calming and uplifting to the emotions, can help to ease anxiousness, and great to diffuse at home or at work. So it seems to me that what doTERRA is trying to tell us with this particular, those 5 original oils, is settle, balance, uplift, and calm emotions. These are all our emotional oils. That's what vision is all about. We're centering ourselves and calming ourselves down. So emotionally, we're open to new possibilities. We support feeling of calm, self-assurance, allowing you to overcome challenges and move into alignment with long-term happiness, right? So that's what we're seeking for our vision. And at the bottom, there are a couple of roller recipes. Please, if you will, take out your phones if you want, take a photograph of this slide. Roller recipes include bloom perfume or mood bloom with citrus bloom, balance, and lime. You're going to get balance if you purchase the BOGO from today or you purchase the group of 5. And then diffuser recipes, bloom and bliss, happy dreams, and then blends well with, what does it blend well? So you can add additional oils, right? You can add additional grapefruit or even lavender or wild orange, but you could also add lime, bergamot, lemon myrtle, frankincense, cedarwood, or sandalwood. So really nice. I don't know if you've had, tell me in the chat, have you smelled citrus bloom in the past? Tell me in the chat. I want to hear. I'm going to give you a minute and I'm going to start looking up. I've got a couple of other things that sort of housekeeping things, and then we're going to pick our winner, of course. Let's see. Yes, you've smelled it, or no, you haven't smelled it. I'm going to keep going and then I'm going to read the chat a little bit later. Okay, so upcoming events, right? I want you to mark your calendar. In the week ahead, on Wednesday, 22nd of April, that's in a day from now, I'll be co-hosting a Q&A call with Audrey Zona. Audrey Zona is a graduate of IIN, the International School for Nutrition, and she's an online presence. She's a lady that I know from here from town. Her kids and my kids went to school together. Her kids are a little bit, she has one older and one much younger than my kids, but really dynamic, super cheerful. She's all about cooking natural and low calorie and trying to really stay within your calorie budget, if you will. So not dieting per se, but making sure that you're eating healthy. So when you get out of this whole thing, you're not thinking, oh my goodness, what did I eat? I ate way, way, way too much. So Audrey's really fun and you'll like her. She's very perky. So she's actually interviewing me. So I have a special login page. Now for both of these events, you are going to have to register in advance. There's no fee for either one of these, but I'm going to give you the links. I'm going to put them in the chat as soon as I finish. I have them ready for us. And you're going to be able to register. Just click and you add your email. And second one is on 23 April, I'm presenting as a guest on the Zoom call in the Philippines. So that's the doTERRA Corporate Philippines call. And I'm going to be talking about leadership. I'm also going to be talking about building your teams and maintaining your teams in this time. And I'm going to be talking a little bit about my message for hope. So we have a Message for Hope coming up, and I think you'll really like it. And I know some of you saw it when I did it originally, and I think some of you saw it when Hong reposted it on Facebook. But I've kind of tweaked it a little bit, so I think you'll really enjoy it. So 2 big events coming up this week, and in the weeks ahead, I also have other things planned for you, different sorts of events, and I think you'll enjoy them. One of the ladies that we have, actually, I'm supposed to announce tomorrow, but I'll give you a 2-second blurb, is actually a home organizer. And you know, I'm always about organization. She was the lady who helped me about 6 months ago get my house in order, and she's going to be talking about getting your workspace in order. So that's a really fun thing. Okay, so don't forget to check out the Vision Driven Leader, 10 questions to focus your efforts, energize your team, and scale your business. And we're going to have links to that. I'll have a link to that in the chat, and there'll also be a link to it in the blog post. So stay tuned for that. And last but not least, a kind of a fun thing. If you haven't done this already, when you subscribe to the blog, you get a free copy of our new ebook. So it's just a little thing that we wanted to send out for you. It's a gift for you as you shelter in place. I think you'll really like it. It's geared towards vegans and all those who love good food. It was co-written by me and my assistant, Julia Nasiak, who you all know and love. I think you've met her on here a couple of times. She is just a doll. And I just wanted to give you a little something just to say thank you for having been here. To everybody, I try to give to every week to our prize winners, but this is to anyone who subscribes to the blog. You can get a free copy of the new ebook. So I hope you like that. Consider following on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, or LinkedIn, because that's where the majority of our information goes out on a daily and weekly basis. On YouTube, if you hop on there, you can see all of the presentations that we've been doing in the last couple of weeks. Last but not least, we are starting, or I did start already, a Spanish presentation series. So if you know anyone who's a Spanish speaker, don't have a lot of recordings up there yet. I think there's maybe 3 or 4, but I think the information is good. It also mirrors the information that you're getting here in English. So if today I'm talking about vision, and I'm also talking about the 5 oils from doTERRA that can help you with vision and decreasing anxiety, then you're going to get the same thing on Spanish on Saturday. So that's really exciting. And by Saturday, we'll know what all of the 12 oils are. So I'll have a lot more to talk about. So if you speak Spanish, or you know someone who speaks Spanish and can use that as a resource, please hop on. Remember, you are amazing. I want to help you to preserve your own safety and the safety of your family. And I want to help you to do the same for everybody around you. So thank you so much for being here, and let's all stay safe. I want to, at the end of this, I've been writing some notes this week, and I've been telling people I can't wait to sit down and have a great meal with you anywhere. I don't care if it's in a park or in a restaurant or a sandwich on the side of a hill, and then just really a good hearty laugh, because I feel like we all need a good laugh in this time. So stay safe, and remember that I'm caring for you, but I know you're also caring for a lot of people too. And finally, thank you so much for being here, and have a wonderful week. Okay, so I'm gonna stop the share. And I'm also going to, hold on one second. When I get into the chat, I want to see who knows Citrus Bloom. Okay. Okay, so the free oils are pink pepper, eucalyptus, lemon, neroli touch, lavender, and beautiful touch. Okay, so that's super exciting. Do you know how many drops of oils are in the frankincense and rose touch? Usually the dilution, if they're mild, is 2 to 1, but I think with rose it may be 4 to 1. So 1 part rose to 4 parts fractionated coconut oil. Wei Hui Ong says, I like citrus bloom very much. Cynthia says not yet. Irene says yes. Megan says yes. Shua Xiong Lee says no. Luke says yes. Angie Rosales says nope. Ike says not yet. Lei Lang says yes, loves it. Agatha says no. Ningxi says not yet. Lynette, I have it and love it. Okay, cool. Ling Ling says no. I think I have one in my house also, but don't ask me where it is. I have to scramble around and try to find it. I can't even begin to tell you where it might be. Cynthia says kind of new for me. Jamie says not yet. Danielle says, no, I never smelled it, would love to. You would love it, you really will, it's worth it. Lori Kroll says not yet. Kingpen says nope. Agnes says no. I love this one. It was a Mother's Day blend a few years ago. I bought it out again recently. Okay, cool. Oh, I brought it out again. Sorry. So she has some in her stash and she brought it out again recently. Great oil for spring. Don't you think? Citrus Bloom? I think so. Pauline says no. Megan says I diffuse it at night as there's Roman chamomile in it. Okay, that's a great tip. Thanks, Megan. Z says yes for Citrus Bloom. Love it to the max. Last year's Mother's Day promo with the marble diffuser. Yes, yes. How are you, Z? I'm looking for your face. I don't see you, but good to hear that you're on. Caitlin says Citrus Bloom is excellent. William says great oil. Shuryun says I finished 2 bottles of Citrus Bloom. Since when? When did you start using them? Tell me in the chat. Cindy says yes. Ella says not yet. Galaxy says yes. Wenway says I just diffused it this afternoon. Okay, cool. Agatha says love Citrus Bloom. Pamela says never tried it and been diffusing it every day for our circuit breaker period. Oh, Shuryun says diffused, and Laya Low says yes, I love it too and diffuse it most of the time. Okay, so interesting that a lot of you have tried it and know the benefits of it. I have to say, I remember smelling it, but I don't remember all the details, which is why I created that. Wanted to add a slide in there for you, because in case you were one of those people who said, nope, never tried it. It has kind of a florally scent to it. I think that has to do with magnolia. I have to say, of all of the magnolias, of all of the florals, my 2 favorites are magnolia and jasmine. Okay, so in the chat, tell me, of the floral oils from doTERRA, what are your favorites? And I'm looking up now what our prize is today. I'm not looking at the screen, but I'm looking up the prize. But tell me, your favorite florals. Okay. I'm looking. Oh, rose. I forgot rose. Yeah, rose. Rose is big. Rose is super big. Blue Lotus. Oh, Cynthia. Yes. And how, right? I have to say, I don't know where I'm using my Blue Lotus. Maybe I'm getting crazy, but I'm using it so sparingly because I feel like, what if it's gone? And then I can't get more. I don't want to fall in love with something and not be able to use it. But then I also should be saying to myself, just use it and enjoy it, right? Okay, so Kit Peng says neroli. Teresa says jasmine and rose. Shuryun says neroli. Susan says magnolia. Jamie, neroli and rose. Ningxi rose. Danielle Massa rose. Pamela Foy rose. Cynthia jasmine. Osmanthus. Oh, osmanthus. Yeah, no kidding. And everything that has osmanthus in it smells delicious, doesn't it, Z? Ling Ling says rose and neroli. Megan says magnolia. Angie says rose. Rose, a lot of roses here. Agatha says jasmine. Tanya says magnolia. Yep. Cynthia again with the Blue Lotus. Okay, yeah. Agatha says I have not opened my Blue Lotus. I know, I opened it and it is amazing. But I have to say, you must shake it. If you don't shake it, I don't know if it just sinks to the bottom or it is just not as well blended with the fractionated coconut oil. You really have to give it a good shake, and it doesn't to disperse. I think now that I've given it a shake a couple of times, that it's going to stay shook, if you will. But what I don't know is how long that 4 milliliters is going to last if I really go through it fast. That's the hard thing to say. Okay, so today I am giving you 2 lucky winners. Oh, no, wait. I have to post the links, the webinar links. Let me give you the 22nd one. Whoops, I promised. Okay, this is for, that's for 22 of April with Audrey. And this for 23 April. There we go. 23 April with on the Philippines. So 22 April is with Audrey, 23 April is the Philippines, if you're going to get on either one of those calls. The link to the book is in the blog. So I'm going to encourage you to go to the blog and get the link for the book. And this week we are two lucky winners are going to, got my pen, I have my notebook. And for those of you who won Vision Driven Leader, congratulations. And they're going out. They went out actually on Friday. So I know some of you who won were really far. So I'm hoping you get it within the next couple of weeks. If not, please, I'll have your tracking numbers so you'll be able to find it. So today, 2 lucky winners are actually going to win Forgive roll-ons, because I think it's super important that we have Forgive and we're able to forgive ourselves actually this week and the week ahead. Can you send in our WhatsApp group later? Yes, I can. That's a great suggestion. I'll send the registration. Will I be recording the webinars? Okay, so the Philippine webinar will be recorded by the Philippine office. I don't think they allow me to record it. And the other one will be recorded by Audrey. And then I'll have to, I guess, after they're done, I'll be able to provide you with recordings. Let me make myself a note to post the recordings. For the 22nd and the 23rd, because I know some of you are not going to be able to get on live. One of those calls is actually fairly late at night for you all. The call with Audrey is like at 11 p.m. Singapore time, which is really late. If you're a night owl and you want to hop on, great. But it will be live. She's very funny, so I think you'll like her. Let me pick our winners today. And thank you all for being such a lively group today. I was so happy to see all of you on. Great to be chatting with you. I hope you feel like the information that we shared. Actually, tell me in the chat, did you like the information we talked about today? I know it's slightly different. It was maybe a little less oils, a little bit more mindset and direction. How was it? Let me know. You know that next week I'll be back talking about oils, but from time to time, it's nice to kind of mix it up. I try to include a couple of oils in there and also help you to understand why the BOGO oils are important. Okay. And look, you don't have to just tell me wonderful. You can tell me I hated it or don't do it again. Some people tell me that. Maybe you want to tell me privately. That's okay if you don't want to tell me in the chat. Cynthia says yes. Megan says yes. Leila Lang says yes. Danielle says, love the information. Oh, thank you, Danielle. You're a sweetheart. Ella says, yes. Ike says, perfect. Okay, Pauline, yes. Always learning. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate it. I'm trying. I feel like my job is to really help you to help your families. That's why I'm here. Been ages since I attended a Zoom call and glad I made it today. Great, Jamie. I'm so glad you were on. Okay, my dear friends. Ningsi says, thanks for the tips. So will you share ebooks you recommend again? Yes. Oh, the link for the, okay. So to get the ebook, you have to go to, I'm putting it here, ElenaJordan.com. Whoops. And you have to sign up for the blog. So when you get onto ElenaJordan.com, you're going to see blog at the top, click on blog, and then it's going to say to you, do you want to subscribe? And you say yes, and then it'll send you the free ebook, but totally free, but you have to go there. I don't have the ebook here. I don't have any way of downloading it. I just can show you the cover. Okay, so our 2 winners of the Forgive Roll-On today are Agatha Diasin and Janice Schwa. Agatha Diasin and Janice Schwa, you're the winners of a Forgive Roll-On. We'll be back again here next week. Have a wonderful week, everyone. Stay safe and healthy. And if you need any additional information or assistance, please contact me. You know where to find me. Send me a direct message, and I'd love to hear from you really soon. Thank you so much. Bye-bye now.